All right, today we're going to be talking about Visual Studio Code. Welcome to Code Talk Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. I will be discussing something interesting regarding coding and scripting. Any levels are welcome to join this. And yeah, today we're talking about Visual Studio Code. What that is, I'm going to show you a couple of examples. I'm going to show you how to write some simple programs in Java and Python when it comes to Visual Studio Code. And let's dive in. All right, what is Visual Studio Code? Visual Studio Code is your code editor. So I already introduced you to one of them, which is JGrasp, but JGrasp is kind of a very simple version of Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is when you want to take your programming to the next level. So it is available on multiple platforms. No matter what you have, you can code in Visual Studio Code if you have Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. It supports all of the operating systems. And it's a very useful tool when it comes to writing code. And by the end of this lecture, you will understand why people love Visual Studio Code so much. And I encourage you to try it yourself, download it on your device, and just try to write some code yourself. All right, we're going to talk about some of the key features, and then I'm going to show you a little video introduction, and then we're going to dive into Visual Studio Code itself. Now, the key features of Visual Studio Code is that it's cross-platform, which means you can use it on any of your devices, such as Windows, Linux, Mac OS, it doesn't matter. It is lightweight and fast. What that means is your code will run smoothly and very fast. It will compile very fast, and it doesn't weigh that much. I think it's about a 1 gigabyte that it's going to take space on your computer or laptop, whatever you are using. And another key feature is integrated Git. What that means is if you want to deploy your projects on GitHub, another platform that you are already familiar with, if you want to deploy them, you can deploy them from Visual Studio Code. You don't have to upload any of your files. Visual Studio Code will do it automatically for you if you set it up that way, which is really cool. And it will also update any files that you are making changes to. It will automatically update them as you go. Extensions and customizations is another big thing when it comes to Visual Studio Code. You are welcome to choose your theme, basically the colors of how your Visual Studio Code will look like to you. There's thousands of these themes that you can choose from, and I'm going to show it to you in a little bit. Layout, you can drag and drop any of the screens that are in front of you. You can make it truly built for you with the way you like to code. And the extensions marketplace is another cool thing. Extensions are what makes Visual Studio Code so great. There's a bunch of extensions that are available for free for you to download, and they will just make your life so much easier when it comes to writing your code. Another couple of those extensions are IntelliSense. IntelliSense is a great tool that will complete your code for you, basically. You will start typing and it will give you examples of what that code might look like. For example, if you are printing something, if you want to put a print statement, you can just type P and it would automatically show you, do you want to use print? And it would automatically fill it out for you. And you just typed one letter, such as P. Context-aware suggestions, what that means, if you made a mistake or if your code doesn't really make sense based on what you were trying to do, your Visual Studio Code, it will show you that, hey, maybe you did not mean to put it there. Maybe you meant to put a different thing. And it will show you suggestions of what that might look like, which is really cool. And as I said, predefined snippets for faster coding, that just means that if you want to create a class in Java, for example, you know that you have to write all of these large statements such as public, class, and then public static main void. It can automatically fill it out for you, so you do not have to type all of that over and over again. Let's watch the introductory video really quick. Let me switch to Safari.
This is Visual Studio Code, a lightweight but
Sound not working.
In a folder to set your workspace.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it now.
Which you can just do by going to this folder icon here and clicking open, or you can use this shortcut. And in my case, that's Command O. Now I know that I want my workspace to be in my documents folder under getting started. So all I have to do is highlight that folder and click open. On the left-hand corner, you'll see under Explorer, my folder name, Getting Started, and any files that I have under there, which is currently none. Now that we've got a folder open, let's take a quick look at the editors so you know the purpose of some of these buttons and sections. On the far left is the activity bar, and the first icon is for the Explorer to see your folders and files. Below is a magnifying glass to search, find, and replace text in files across your whole workspace. Then there's source control to track changes in code with Git and GitHub. Next is run and debug to execute code and debug it using breakpoints. The extension marketplace to add additional features to our code editor, and then a couple of icons for your account and to manage settings. But at the very top center, we have our command palette, which you can go to View and select it as your first option or use this shortcut. The command palette is very important as it is the control center for all commands in Visual Studio Code. At the bottom of the screen is the status bar, where on the left, we'll see a number of errors or warnings, and on the right, the current line number and programming language. Right above that is a panel for output or debug information, problem details, and an integrated terminal. So let's go ahead and create a new file. I can go over here and select New File, or hit Command End, and quickly notice at the bottom right-hand corner, it says plain text. But once I start typing console.log, open parentheses, immediately it notices it's JavaScript. And at this point, once I start writing anything else, IntelliSense is going to kick in. I write CON, and it's like, oh, you want to write confirm console? It's trying to predict exactly what I want to write. I hit the dot, letter L. Do you want to write log? Yeah, it's reading my mind practically. This is IntelliSense. It's that smart completion. All I'll write is rise and shine. And on the next line, ready for a new day. And if I hit Command S, I will save my file as jssample.js and hit save. And you know you need to save whenever there's a change made, because if I hit the space bar here, you'll see that there's a dot that shows up, which means I need to save. And if I want to have to avoid having to save every single time, I can go to File, Auto Save, and any little change that I make, it immediately saves it. And now to execute our code, I hit F5. As you can see below, rise and shine, ready for a new day. Now let's write something in Python. I'll create a new file, Command End, and I will save it as Python sample.py. So Visual Studio Code at the bottom right-hand corner notices that it's Python, but if I start actually writing code, you'll notice that I don't have that IntelliSense. And in fact, I could write almost anything here, and it's not giving me any type of warning. So for a language like Python, extra support is needed, and that's where we could use an extension, which is the first one recommended here. So now it's installing, and it will give us IntelliSense linting, which is going to give us that squiggly line whenever there's like an error, debugging, and some more capabilities. So now if I start writing, I get that IntelliSense, and I can finish writing my statement. And if I put in some nonsense here, it will give me a warning. And now I can add some more code to execute it by hitting F5. Python has entered the building. Or I could also execute it by hitting this run button here.
So as you can see, it's really cool, especially the IntelliSense, in my opinion, it's really cool because it will give you all of the possibilities that you might want to type when you are creating your code. Now, let me show you how you can actually get started when it comes to Visual Studio Code. Let's do that from the very beginning. So all you need to do is just type Visual Studio Code or Visual Code, it doesn't matter. It will prompt you to this website right here, codevisualstudio.com. You just click on this link and it will automatically show you which platform you are using, and you just need to click this button right here, the blue button, download For me, it's showing Mac because I'm on Mac OS, but for you, it probably will be Windows or Mac OS. I don't think a lot of people use Linux right now, but just make sure that you download the stable build, because the insider build is mostly for people who want to test new features and maybe customize that visual code for them even more. You don't really need that right now. Just get the stable build. Just make sure you download it. After you download it, it's a very simple installation. It's just going to follow. You just need to follow the steps that are in front of you. Select where you want that Visual Studio Code to be. And after that, you will be prompted to a page that looks something like this. Let me see. Visual Studio Code. Share my screen. All right, here we go. Okay. So as you can see, Visual Studio Code, this is the interface that you just saw in the video. Again, all of the things right here, the Explorer, the search button, the let me see if I can hide this panel right here. All right. Source control, run and debug, extensions. So again, first thing I want to show you is extensions. Extensions are very useful. So if you want to use Java or if you want to use Python, you will have to download some sort of extension and install it for your Visual Studio Code. But it also comes down to any other language that you want to use. You will also have recommended. If you are ever wondering about something new, if you want to learn something new, you can easily go to the recommended section and just search and see what it's telling you that's recommended for you. GitHub Copilot, that's a thing you are familiar with from our last Code Talk Tuesday. We've talked about GitHub Copilot. It's the AI that helps you code and gives you code suggestions in real time, which is really cool. But when it comes to creating your first files, again, you will have to create some sort of folder where you want all of your programming projects to be stored at. Let's see. It's really easy to do it. For me, it's just called in class already. If you want to create a new folder, you'll just have to click new folder and put whatever name you want for that. Let's open this folder right here, and then you just need to create a new file. Very simple. Is either you click Control-N or Command-N, depending on your operating system that you're using, or you just click new file right here. And you can either do a text file, or if you already have some extensions installed like I do, you can create a Python file, you can create a Java file, but let's just do a text file for now. A text file, once you start typing, let's say I want to type something in Java, public class, see how it automatically tells me that you are using Java. Right here at the bottom, it says Java. So it automatically recognized that I want to type something in Java just based on these two words, public and class, which is really cool. There's not a lot of code editors that do that for you. Now, public class, what we need to do, these are the wrong squiggly lines. We want these. Again, we want to type our main stuff, public static void, static void main string args. All right, now we can type something. Let's say I want to type welcome to Visual Studio Code. Right, after that, to run it, you can either go here, run and debug, or, and again, you will have to save your file. I forgot to name my file. Let's name it in class Code Talk Tuesday. Run and debug, you need to save it. You need to give it a name. The one thing about Java, you need to give it a name. The name should be the same as the name of your class. So in class CTT, in class CTT. So you save it and you run and debug it. It should print. Right here, you can see that it printed welcome to Visual Studio Code. There is no errors, there is no nothing, so we're good to go. We printed welcome to Visual Studio Code. And again, it's really cool because once you start typing, it will give you suggestions what you want to do with it. So you can see system.out.println. I just typed system and it gave me all of the things that I can use. Now, again, it auto-filled it for me, so I don't have to type all of that thing over and over again. System.out.print. This is how to write code in VS Code. Right, again, just to run, you can either run it here, you can also run it right here, this button in your right top corner, or you can also run it when it comes to somewhere here at the top of your screen, just depending which operating system you are using. Again, let's run it, let's see. And it printed, welcome to Visual Studio Code. This is how to write code in VS Code. Again, same idea for Python. It's really not that hard for Python. Let's see, you will just have to save this as, let's call it in class Python .py, the extension for Python. Again, automatically it knows, just because I put the extension py, it tells me that, hey, I know that this is Python right here. So it's gonna give me suggestions based on Python programming language. Again, Python is a bit more simple. So if we want to print the same thing in Python, we just have to put the statement print, parentheses, and let's do the same thing. Welcome to Visual Studio Code. Again, let's run it again. And here it is, welcome to Visual Studio Code. So again, it's really cool, in my opinion, how it shows you. As I said, you can just type P and it shows you all of the things that start with P that you might want in your code. Print, if I make a mistake, let's say print L, see, it automatically gives us a squiggly line. Squiggly line means there might be an error. You might have made a mistake somewhere. And it also shows you the quick fixes, which is also really cool. Change spelling to print, search for additional import matches, add ignore to suppress warning. So again, if you know that you're doing the right thing and you are annoyed by the squiggly line, you can always type ignore to suppress this warning and it's not going to show up. But in this case, yes, we made a mistake. So it showed us how we can fix that mistake. For extensions, extensions will be shown to you automatically. For example, you're using Python and you don't have, I have a package installed for Python right here, Python. If you don't have it installed and you start typing something in Python, Visual Studio Code will tell you, hey, do you want to install this package for your Visual Studio Code? Because it's going to help you write code more efficiently. So again, it's a really cool thing because it gives you suggestions every step of the way. And it doesn't give you any unnecessary information either. So most of the suggestions that Visual Code will give you, they are necessary. And then it's up to you if you want to download them or not. Let's go. Let's switch to my sidebar just disappeared. Give me a second. Sidebar. All right. Let me click new share and we will go back to our Safari. So again, once you download Visual Studio Code, if you are not sure where to go with it, if you know something went wrong or your installation is not correct, just go to this page right here. Getting started in Visual Studio Code is under Docs. So once you click on Docs on your Visual Studio Code website, this is where it's going to bring you. And it's going to give you the overview of these useful things. Overview, how to set it up, how to get started. You can also read the user guide. it can show you for the most languages, it can show you how to set your Visual Studio Code specifically for those languages. So again, Python, if you want to start your Visual Studio Code experience with Python, this is a quick start guide for how to use Python in Visual Studio Code. Same with Java. You can just click on Java, getting started. It's going to show you all of the useful information when it comes to writing code in Java with Visual Studio Code. And there's other languages too, C++, C#, how to use it with Docker, how to use it for data science. And if you need more languages, you can just click on languages and look at all of the programming languages that are supported with Visual Studio Code, Python, C and C++, C#, Go, Dart. There's hundreds of programming languages that are supported with this source code editor. Again, really cool thing. If you want to watch any introductory videos when it comes to writing code in Visual Studio Code, you can also do that. There's all of these videos, getting started, code editing, productivity tips. There's 8 videos for you to watch if you are interested in it. Let me show you how to customize your Visual Studio Code. All right, so as you can see, I have it in a dark theme mode. If you are not a fan of the dark theme mode, all that you have to do is just click Command Palette. Again, remember that Command Palette is a useful thing in Visual Studio Code. All of the commands that you want to run, they will exist within this Command Palette. So for example, if I want to change the theme, all that I have to do is just type theme. Let's see. Palette, theme, click on preferences and color theme. After that, these are the dark themes, these are the light themes. You can just click on them and see how it changes for you. Let me see, it's supposed to actually just change as you go over it, but maybe my computer is not powerful enough to do that. But maybe for you, every time you just scroll over it, it should show you how different the themes are. And again, this is
It's still on the VS Code website.
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me change that real quick. All right. Code untitled. All right. Should be right here. You can see it now?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Yeah, so right here, common palette, or you can use a shortcut. For you, it will probably be a different shortcut if you're on Windows. But all that you have to do is just type theme. Once you type theme, go to preferences. You can either go to preferences color theme, or you can browse color theme in the marketplace. So if these themes are not enough for you, you can always go to the marketplace and look at the other additional color themes. But as I said, I like the dark. For example, if you're not a fan of the dark, here are the light themes. You can see that they're separated: high contrast, dark themes, light themes. Let's look at the default one. The default light one is just plain white. And personally, not a huge fan. For me, it's a little bit hard to see when it's on white. And let's look, for example, let's look at the high contrast themes really quick. Color theme, high contrast, dark high contrast. So again, somebody likes this kind of stuff. Yeah, you can see that the code is just, it's staring at you basically. It's very visible. That's why it's called the high contrast. But if you're not a fan of any of them, you can just go to the marketplace, and it's gonna show you all of the cool themes that are available in the marketplace. So you can see if you just click on using your arrow keys, you can see how different they are. You can see the different colors, and you can just pick whatever you like and make your coding experience more pleasant. Yeah, so personally, I'm a fan of I'm a fan of your regular, just dark, not really high contrast, but you know, the dark theme. But again, it's up to you. This is why Visual Studio Code is so cool, because you can customize it as much as you want. And right here on the right corner, you can also get rid of the panels, and it shows you which panels are open, which panels are closed based on the little black and white. If it's in white, that means it's open. If it's in black, that means it's closed. Same thing with all of these. And this one will let you customize your layout. Again, you can play with that. As you can see, we can move it from left to right. We can align our panels also based on left, right, center, or justify, whatever you want to do. Let's see. Panel, status bar. But yeah, basically you can also customize how visible these panels are. So you can put them, for example, for on default. For example, if you don't want to see this secondary bar, you can just customize it so it's not visible every time you open your Visual Studio Code, which is really cool. Let me see if there's anything else for us to cover. All right. New share, PowerPoint. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A couple of resources that you might want to use. There are two links right here. Again, I showed you these already. This is just the docs and the introduction videos. Let me go back to Safari. Right here. Safari share. Yeah, so these are the introductory videos, and these are all of the docs that come with Visual Studio Code if you want to learn about it more. And again, if you like it, I encourage you to go and try it out yourself, because most of the software developers in this field, they use Visual Studio Code. The main two are Visual Studio Code and IntelliJ. IntelliJ is also a really cool one. I might cover it later, but Visual Studio Code is my personal preference when it comes to writing code, just because it's highly customizable. It has tons of extensions, and of course that the code completion is nice too when it comes to writing your code, just because it's easier, it saves me time, and it saves me frustration when I can't figure out what's wrong with my code. Visual Studio Code will always show me if there's something wrong with it, and it will try to explain to me what's wrong with my code either. So it's really nice. Do you have any questions?